Okay, so today what we're going to be working on is your guys' initial research, right? Your brainstorms were due last Friday, and then I think this checkpoint coming up is you have to have initial research done, and on Wednesday we'll probably talk more in depth about what that needs to look like. But it'll be just kind of where you're getting your information from and just what is that information as well. How many of you have had any experience with actually doing research work, research papers, research stuff? Okay, so most of you have. Jacob, you have?
Oh.
Or you haven't?
You have.
Wait, did you go to middle
Genetics, you've
school?
done some work.
Oh, that stuff doesn't count.
That's
Did you go to-
complete research.
I know, I started doing research when I was in elementary school. I researched the
yeah.
human brain in 4th grade, so I just don't get how.
Okay, fine, I guess I've done some research.
I'm sure you guys have. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to take a look at some just good research methods. Some of you might feel like you're really good at researching already. Some of you feel like you're okay, but just some good skills to use. And then also just things that I need everybody to be aware of about what is and is not appropriate, and then how to use what is not appropriate in terms of what you can use to research to actually your benefit. So we'll look at that. First off, where are you going to do your research probably? Online, right? I mean, for the first place you're going to start doing your research, I highly doubt, I would love it if this happened, but I highly doubt any of you guys would be like, I'm off to the library. Right?
Actually, I was there.
Yeah, I was
researching
trying to
stuff.
research there.
I don't know.
Okay, I said I highly doubt, I didn't say it won't happen.
Computer to look for.
Right. So, I mean, it's fine. I get it. The internet is a really good thing to use. Mr. West, however, showed me a really good graphic, and it said it's a fire hydrant with water coming out of it. And he says, I'm gonna ruin it now. It was like
I'm gonna kill it.
using the internet to do all of your research is like trying to take a drink of water from an active fire hydrant, right? You guys get that? If you guys have ever, or even just like a really high-powered hose or something like that, right? I could do it, but you're not going to be incredibly successful, right? It's going to be really difficult, and it'll probably just like you'll do this with your head trying to get like in there.
No, I'll be like,
Hurt,
I'll just
right?
hold it a minute.
But
You can walk it off with your hand.
hopefully you guys get the analogy, right? You get the simile there that there's a wealth of knowledge on the internet, right? Some of it good, some of it bad, some of it in between, I don't know. But there's a lot out there, okay? So just like with your topics, how it's your guys' job to narrow and refine your scope and get more and more specific as you can. Same thing with searching. Same thing with using the internet. I'm going to take you through, and I really want to use global climate change just because it's going to be really, really applicable for this. But I'm going to take you through the different steps that you guys probably would use if you wanted to, if you're going to use the internet to research. So, obviously, internet, going to go to Google, right? I love Google. I'm not saying Google is bad or anything like that, but that's probably what you guys are going to use. Anybody want to guess how many hits I'm going to get for global climate change? 5,000. 5,000
Times a million.
so okay. All right.
5 million over there.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's see how many global climate change. 104 million.
I was close.
That's a lot. That's about 104 million results. Okay. Looking at it, right? There's a lot of cool stuff here, but can you imagine if you're like, I really want to do a global climate change, and so you just start wading through everything? Scholarly articles, right? Scholarly articles. That sounds good. This one's climate.nasa.gov. This one's exploratorium.edu. Okay, no, there's Wikipedia. There's the Environmental Protection Agency, right? These seem like pretty good sources already, but what are you going to do? Just read all of them?
Yes.
You're just going to read everything? Like, well, I'm just go larger, right?
What if you can't find any good sources? For example, I'm supposed to research this dude for criminology, and every time I search it, the only thing I come up with is like truetv.com.
Okay,
Then
then you have to refine your search, right? You have to refine your search. We'll get to how to refine your search, but first what I want to do is look at Wikipedia. Okay, how many of you use Wikipedia?
I've used only for
I look
like
at the
basic.
sites.
Really? 2 of you. Only 2 of you out of this entire classroom have ever.
Basic
I've used
knowledge.
Wikipedia.
Well, yeah, just
Come
like
on,
basic
guys.
knowledge.
Not
It's
for
not-
schoolwork.
Okay, I didn't say for school. I just said in general.
Oh yeah,
In general.
Wikipedia, definitely.
Yeah. You go to Wiki Answers?
No, I don't.
Still,
Yeah.
right?
Just
You
kidding.
guys know what a wiki is?
Nope.
What is a wiki? Because there are a lot. There's like WikiLeaks, Wiki Answers, Wikipedia. There's
Wiki.
huh?
Just wiki.
Well, a wiki. Zach, are you saying something?
I don't know. What do we
Yeah, it's kind of like similar to a forum full of information.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So a
We should
wiki,
mute him.
any sort of
We should
wiki,
mute him.
any sort of wiki is just where anybody can contribute to it, right? And there are a lot of different like specific wikis out there, it's with some sort of concentration on a type of knowledge, right? That's what a wiki is. I'm going to turn you down just again, Zach. And now, if you go to Wikipedia, global climate change, okay? I mean, just look at the size of the scroll bar. It's tiny. There's so much information on here, right?
What's actually useful though?
Well, that's actually a really good question, okay? And this is where, have you guys actually seen this button up here? Talk. I mean, how many of you have actually explored Wikipedia at all? It's fine if you haven't, but if you click on Talk, this actually gives you an overview of how beneficial some of this information is. It's like a discussion about the information on this specific page. Okay, so if you actually look right here, this is where it talks about how beneficial the information is. It says climate change, and that's what this is called, climate change, was one of the good articles, but has been removed from the list. These are suggestions for improving the article to meet the good article criteria. Okay. There's featured article. If you find something that is a featured article, that means that is the number one best thing that you could actually look for on Wikipedia specifically. Good is also good. Okay, if you find something that's a good article, there's some information it might behoove you to stay on that page. However, if it does not meet at least the good criteria, there's almost no reason you should still stay on this page. It's not going to work out very well. Okay, and so what are the issues? And it addresses some of those issues, right? External links and further quotations of the resource. Is ocean acidification really part of global climate change? Agricultural effects, solar wind. Okay, so those are things that are currently being discussed, and what needs to change. And then you can read further into it, like Dave. Apparently, thanks for your thoughtful edit comment, indicating a lack of source and problem with some scientists. Okay, so those sort of things are pointed out. What makes it a good article? Again, you can look at it. It talks about the criteria involved. They're considered to be of good quality, but are not yet qualified as a featured article. Okay, and then a little bit about what a featured article is. The best articles Wikipedia have to offer, as determined by Wikipedia's editors. So there are actually people who control this. It's not just this free-flowing, anybody can do whatever they want. They could even run Wikipedia if they want to. No, there are actually people who control Wikipedia. And they are used by editors as examples for other articles. Before being listed here, articles are reviewed as a featured article candidate for accuracy, neutrality, completeness, and style according to our featured articles criteria. Okay, so you can actually look at their criteria and all that kind of stuff and really break it down. Okay, that's something that you should consider. Does even Wikipedia consider this a good Wikipedia article? And if Wikipedia doesn't like it, like, why stay? However, let's go under the assumption that it is at least a good article or maybe a featured article, right? And it's not that there's another article out there on climate change that does a better job. It's just that this has issues that have yet to be addressed. Okay? And sometimes that can come down to like sources. And on something that's really bad, they'll have that block text at the top of the page, like this article needs to be evaluated or reviewed for citations or something like that. Right? But how many of you are familiar with the references portion of Wikipedia? Kind of. Okay. There are a bunch of things on here that will help you better understand what's going on. So obviously, read this. And if we just read the first sentence, the most general definition of climate change is a change in the statistical properties of the climate system when considered over long periods of time, regardless of cause. Okay, so they're just defining what global or what climate change means, right? And that definition just means that there are things that happen to the climate, the statistical properties, right? Whether it be, you know, how hot it is, how much rainfall there is, how much snowfall there is, right? We've had a really weird season, a really weird winter season, right? It'll dump on us for a little bit, and then it'll be like 50 degrees. Like, what is going on, right? And then in Alaska, there's 20 feet of snow. I mean, it's crazy, right? That is a type of climate change. The climate has changed and is doing things differently than it has in the past, okay? And then that happens over a long period of time, regardless of cause, okay? And that's where the debate is, okay? But what is this thing right here? What is this? It's a number. Anybody know what that's actually called?
It's a footnote.
Yes, Amanda, it's a footnote, right? This is a footnote. So you can click on that footnote, and then it drops you down here, okay? And then this is where all their information is coming from. This is beneficial. It's at the bottom of every single Wikipedia page that you can ever find.
The thing you never read.
Right. I mean, you're like, oh, there's a lot of weird words and numbers and things that I don't really care about, right? But this is where all the information comes from. And this becomes a good jump-off point for any information you do want to use, okay? So where did they get this? They got it from a glossary on climate change. It came from the Education Center, Arctic Climatology and Meteorology, and the NSDIC National Snow and Ice Data Center. Okay, and then sometimes it'll be a website. Other times it'll be a book. What? People use books still. So, and that's why if you ever see something that has like an ISBN number or anything that makes it look like a book, it's you're not going to just be able to click on it. Okay, but this is how valid something is. Okay, and if there is a website, let's see if there's a website on here. I wonder what happens when I click on that. Wow, that's not what I want. All right. Okay, so this does take us to a website, right? And this is where everything's kind of coming from. Carbon cycle, carbon dioxide, fertilization, charcoal, climate. Okay, so and then here's our definition of climate change. Statistically significant variation, either mean or state, right? So they put it in their own words and threw it in there and cited their source. Okay. And then what's in a name? Global warming versus global climate change. That's a big topic considering when you consider this. Should we call it global warming or should we call it global climate change? Some people think you call it global warming. We're only getting warmer, right? Which it's true, we are globally getting warmer. But then people make the argument like, well, it's really cold out right now. Oh, global warming's not real, right? Well, that's why it's called global climate change, because it's the warmth of the temperature on a global unit that affects the environment and the world on different levels and in different ways, right? You can see drought in one area and then saturation in another. So anyways, these are good things to use. Okay, this is coming from nasa.gov. Okay, that's the other thing that we need to talk about is where are your things coming from? And we'll talk about when we get to our Google search. But this is .gov, which stands for government, right? This is a government site, okay? So, other things to look at, okay? I'm just searching global climate change. Remember how I said that's such a big topic? I mean, we had over, how many? Like 104 million search possible places we could go. It's a lot. It's a lot. So what do I need to do?
Narrow it down.
I need to narrow my topic, okay? This thing right here, the contents right here, this is a really good outline of global climate change. It has a lot of stuff in it, right? So here's the terminology that's just kind of what it means. But then we get down to causes, okay? This is a really big thing. Internal forcing mechanisms, external forcing mechanisms, okay? Those are things that I might want to look at. Physical evidence for and examples of climate change. And then it gets even more specific when it looks at glaciers and vegetation, right? I'm sure you guys have seen, like for glaciers, you have that they're receding. What does it mean to recede?
To go back.
To go backwards, right? So like if you have a receding hairline, right? It was here when I was in elementary school, and now it's here, right? That sucks. What do you call 1,000 hairs taking one step back? A receding hairline. All right. Get it? Hairs. It's a pun. So. There are glaciers, right? They'll show like glacier in like 1978, and it's like this, and then they'll show the glacier in 2006, and it's like this, right? And it's receded. So that's one type of evidence for the change in our ecosystem, the change in the world and that sort of thing. So maybe that's something I want to focus on. Okay. And then obviously it can get a lot more specific beyond this. Okay. So that contents, right? That's a really good thing. So 3 things that you can use Wikipedia for. This talk option, the discussion option about how valid Wikipedia itself thinks this article is. The contents and outline so that you can help refine your topic and really get a lot more specific with it. And then that at the very bottom, the notes or references or works cited, whatever you want to call it, at the bottom where you can actually find the primary source, like where they're actually getting everything from. Okay, because Wikipedia, all it is it's essentially what you guys are doing, right? In a way, they do a lot of research and then they compile that research and put it into one spot. That's what's cool about Wikipedia. However, the they is, Joe Samsonite in Missouri lives with his mom. I don't know, right? Like it could be anyone. It could be anybody contributing. Obama. I don't know. Yeah. So let's go back to our search for global climate change. Okay. Yeah. 104,000 or 104 million hits.
That's a bit.
In 0.16 seconds. Yeah. 0.16 seconds. So there's too much here. I should probably refine my search, right? First off, what I need to do is what you guys all needed to have done for last Friday, which was brainstorm, right? Obviously, if I'm just searching global climate change, I have not done any brainstorming, okay? Exactly. Exactly, and I should have already done that step, right? So really, if I look at this, right, global climate change, and then what we did something else in this class, didn't we? We did, oh, that's right, we did fate versus free will in this class. So we got very heavy. The class before that, we did Bigfoot. So, yeah.
I was just thinking about that last night. I was thinking how karma would tie into that.
Into Bigfoot or fate versus free will? Bigfoot, yeah, of course, got it, yeah. How does karma fit into Bigfoot? All right, so we look at global climate change. Some things that you could look at, right? Like maybe the cause, right? The cause of global climate change. Okay, so we were able to narrow it down by what, about 40 million hits or something? I don't know, I can't do math. But we're still at 78,300,000. That's a lot. And yes, of course, because it's more specific. All right, so the cause, that's still pretty broad, way too broad to just start researching it, right? So maybe we could say human cause. All right, 128 million.
Okay, we went backwards.
All right, so we're actually working backwards. That's not good.
We're receding.
Let's do a human cause, and then what is one major human cause of global climate change? Well, no, your carbon footprint is not a cause. Carbon footprint is what maps out your impact. Okay, yes, but what? From what? Transportation. There we go. 89 million. Okay, let's do. Let's get rid of cause and just get. Ugh. That's better. 38,100,000 for cause global climate change. I wonder if we said personal transportation. Nice. 4.13 million.
Oh, we can do that.
Right? Now we can maybe start doing it. But let's get even more specific, okay? How many of you, they used to have it right underneath the search thing, but now they changed it. How many of you have done an advanced search before? Okay, good. If you come right here, right? And actually, you might even know the shortcuts, right? And I'll show you one of the shortcuts, which is really good. But let's go right here, advanced search. Okay, so I want all of these words: cause, global climate change, personal transportation. All of those words are going to go in there. Okay, then you can do this exact word or phrase. For example, if you were to search a movie or a book or something, and it maybe kind of was an not abstract, it was kind of a vague title, then you could throw that in there, right? And it'll only make sure that exact phrasing is searched. It won't break it up, right? Any of these words, and then maybe I don't want certain words in there, right? Let's see. Maybe I don't want I don't know, acid rain for some reason. Okay, I don't want acid rain in there. I really avid rain. Really, Oops. Acid rain. I don't want any acid rain in there, okay? And then numbers, that's going to be irrelevant for what I'm searching, okay?
Does anyone get any rain?
I don't, maybe I don't want rain. Maybe I don't want to talk about rain. I don't want to talk about what happens as a result of it. I just want to talk about what causes it, right? Maybe I've searched so much, I just don't want to. I don't know. Any language? Let's do English. Okay, because I can't speak anything but English. And then the safe search, depending on what you're searching for, maybe you want to make it strict. And then reading level. Ooh, that's exciting. Annotate results with reading levels, show only basic results, show only intermediate, show only advanced results. Neat. And then certain file types. Maybe you're looking for a PowerPoint or PDF. And then you can, this is what I want to look for. Site or domain, okay? This is going to be a big thing. For when you guys are doing your searches, okay, there's not necessarily anything wrong with a .com website, but what does a .com imply? Commercial, which means what?
They're selling advertisements.
Yeah, that website exists for the most part to make money. Okay, and they'll, like eBay.com, obviously, or Yahoo.com, or even the New York Times.com.
Or even Google.
Google.com, right? Facebook.com. I mean, Facebook is not, it's there to make money. But New York Times, right? Wait, why is that .com? Shouldn't that be something else? No, absolutely not. They're in it to make money. However, we would know that New York Times is a pretty good source to use, right? It's there to make money, but it's also there to provide information. And it is the media, though. That's one thing to keep in mind.
Yeah.
There is going to be bias in the media as much as they try to avoid it. It is very real. So, with that in mind, what are good sites to use? Okay, maybe I want to keep it .gov. What else?
Maybe .edu or
Yeah, .edu. Education's really good. .org can be good. You can still get
Wikipedia and stuff.
you can still get certain things that are
But you can't find anything else.
right. But an organization, a .org is usually there for nonprofit reasons, and it's not educational, so it's not going to come from a college or something like that, and it's not the government. Huh? .network, I don't think that .network or .net, I think that's kind of similar to .com. It doesn't really change it much. I think. I'm not 100% sure. But based on all this stuff, let's do our advanced search, right? And then you could also do, and then there are other things. Pages I visited. Cool, they actually changed their advanced search a lot, which is nice. Let's take a look. I might have done. I was concerned about this. Let me search. All right, let's get rid of. I guess we'll get rid of acid rain.
Nothing.
Well, you've narrowed down your searching, so.
Can you get down to zip? Bravo.
Let's
Can't change the language.
change the language. There you go. Well, I just did .edu, and that's good, right? I mean, if I did .edu, maybe it might be because I'm trying to do edu, gov, and org all at once, I'm assuming. But .edu, 111,000 results. Right? This is now much more manageable. Much more manageable. The environmental impacts of transportation coming from the geography of transport systems, etc. One thing, though, this is a really good thing for you guys to do. So I look here, it's like, oh, cool, Dr. Jean-Paul Rodriguez and Dr. Claude Comtois. Like, oh, that sounds cool. But what is this website? It's really hard to figure it out. So it would behoove you to actually go to the home website and figure out kind of what this is, okay, where this is all coming from. The Department of Global Studies and Geography from Hofstra University in New York, okay. Might want to figure out what Hofstra University is and make sure it's like actually a good source. But this seems pretty good. It seems like some good information to use. And what's really nice, and we'll get to this in a second when we look at MLA citations, this thing right here, I know who my authors are. Okay, I'm sure those of you that have had to cite stuff on websites, like, oh, I don't know when it was created, or who wrote it, or who the sponsor is, or who this, or who that, and all you end up putting is when you accessed it and the fact that it was a website, right? which is worthless. And maybe the title, maybe there's a title in there, right? But it's not going to be a good site or source to use, right? If you can't find out the information, the specific information about it, it's not going to be good. That is, however, unless you go to, like EPA.com, right? Environmental Protection Agency. They usually don't list their authors, but the EPA is a pretty good source to use for the most part. There's some debate there, but yeah.
What if it is a .gov site and it doesn't have authors on it?
Yeah, so let's take a look at that. Let's see if I can just specify EPA. Yeah. Right here, greenhouse gas emissions. Talks about greenhouse gas overview, and I don't see any authors. But where's it coming from? The Environmental Protection Agency. Okay. So there's probably a bunch of people that work on this, and then they publish it. Kind of like you can have editorials. You have an editorial board for newspapers. You don't have just one. If you ever go to the editorial section in most newspapers, they don't have one person that writes it. It's like a bunch of people. It could be like 12 people that write one article, right? And so there is no technically author there. Same thing here. That's fine. It's fine even if, but you have to assess other things now, right? I mean, Caitlin, I have to look at where is this actually even coming from now? It's coming from the EPA. If it's coming from, myworld.gov or something like that, and My World is just some weird site that some guy created and we don't really know who he is and it just looks weird. There's a lot of weird flash animation and that sort of thing. Then yeah, I mean, you guys should judge the quality of the site and then see how that directly pertains to the quality of the information. If there are a lot of like explosions and advertisements and that sort of thing, maybe it's not the best site to use, especially if you can't find the author, right? I mean, it's 2012. The internet's been around for a while, and good sites know how to market themselves well and do well and create something that's actually beneficial. Okay, so but that's a really good question. Now, so we did the advanced search option, right? And you can, I encourage you guys, play around with this. Okay, play around with this and figure out kind of where exactly you want to look at and how to make it as refined as possible so that you can spend less time searching through a whole bunch of stuff that just isn't really going to benefit you at all. Okay. So questions on that, on Google or Wikipedia? Cool. All right. Now, what I want to show you guys, we're going to switch gears a lot, and we're going to look at citations. Okay. So you've been doing your research, you've been finding that stuff, but now, what are you going to do with that, right? And this will be a big thing. You guys are going to be using MLA format for your essays. You're going to be doing in-text citations. And for your vocab, you're going to have some type of works cited page, right? So this is going to be incredibly beneficial. And trust me, this isn't something like you're only going to do an intro to Lit Comp and never in your education career you're ever going to have to cite something ever again. Learning this now and also seeing how easy it actually is really beneficial. A lot of people look at citing. How many of you have cited stuff before? How many of you get really annoyed because you have to cite stuff? Okay, yeah. I kind of get it because I was there too, like, oh, I have to cite this. But it's really easy, especially if you do the process throughout as you write your essay instead of waiting until the very end. It's easy to make a works cited page, and it's easy to figure out what you do need to cite and what you don't need to cite. We're not going to focus on that quite yet. We're not going to focus on in-text citations until maybe this week, maybe not even until next week. Right now, we're only going to focus on creating your works cited page, okay? And in your works cited, and I'll probably address this again, for a works cited page, you only include information that is actually in your essay. Just because you went to a site and read something and then went somewhere else and didn't actually use any other information, just because you went there doesn't mean you then have to cite that. And really, you actually shouldn't cite that. I should be able to look at your works cited page and your in-text citations and see every single one addressed. If not, that's not really a good thing. Okay. But let's take a look at the OWL at Purdue. The OWL stands for Online Writing Lab. Okay, and it's awesome. Okay, so if you just type in OWL at Purdue, you can go to two different spots. You can go to this website right here, and this is their home base. This is where you'll find everything, and they have a lot of stuff. Okay, so they have suggested resources right here. They have most popular resources. You can contact them, but a lot of people when they come here, they get kind of overwhelmed and like, but where do I go? Okay, if you just type in the OWL at Purdue and go straight to MLA Guide, then you won't have to worry about having to navigate from the main page to this spot right here. Okay. See, we had to go to like OWL Family Sites, OWL Research and Citation, MLA Style, MLA Formatting Style Guide. All those things we just bypassed by just clicking MLA Style Guide. Okay. What this dictates is everything as it pertains to MLA. Who can tell me what MLA dictates? There are 3 things. What are they? Yeah, format. So that's like how the essay actually looks, right? It's like it's double spaced, 12-point font, Times New Roman. You have your name, the class, the professor's name, the date in the corner. You have a header, that sort of thing. What else? How it's cited. Good. How you cite your information. So how you actually make your works cited page, and then what else? The last one. You kind of hit both of them by saying how it's cited, because it's kind of vague. So it's how you make the works cited page, and then also how you do your in-text citations, right? So those are the only 3 things MLA dictates. Okay. The only 3 things that you need to make sure you learn and understand. We've already done the formatting your essay thing. You know how to do that. It's just the other 2 things that we have to work on. Okay. And that's what it all says, right? Just basic style formatting guide, right? In-text citations, formatting quotations, endnotes, and footnotes. Works at all this kind of stuff, okay? What we're going to look at right now is we're going to look at the works cited page, okay? And this, I'll just show this to you, but I don't want to get you guys too hung up on it. This is just how it should look. Again, basic format. Talks about basic rules. Additional basic rules to, they changed it in 2009, how to punctuate, listing authors' names, more than one. Okay, so it kind of goes through all of this stuff. What I want us to look at right here is how to cite a book and how to cite an internet source. Okay, and we'll do both. Okay, we'll do both. But that's what I want us to look at first. We'll probably do an internet source and then we'll look at the book. Okay. So, right here, basic format. This is also why you might want to do books, because it'll be much less of a headache for you guys to actually cite the book than it would be for you to try to cite an internet site. Okay? Because if by the way, cite and cite, those are different things. If you're talking about an internet site, it's with an S. If you're talking about citing something, like citations, works cited, it's with a C. Okay? It's still C-I-T-E or S-I-T-E, but do keep that in mind. Do keep that in mind. So, if you look, right, so basic format for a book, and this is a book with just one author, one title, it's not a periodical, right, it might just be, I mean, it can be fiction or nonfiction, either or, but in terms of what you need to find, it's the same between fiction and nonfiction. Okay? And if you look at it, it's actually really simple. Right? Gosh, man, students can't write on my board anymore. It's really simple. Last name and first name. Anybody not know where you can find the author's name on a book? I mean, how hard is that? It's usually in big. It's like right on the cover. It's on the side. It's inside. It's everywhere, right? The title of the book. I know you guys don't put books up that often, but I'm sure you've seen a title before. I mean, you can look right there and like, oh, look, those are all titles. Right? Look at all those titles. Yeah, Parker?
I've actually seen a book with no title on it.
You've seen a book with no title.
Yes.
What was it called?
I opened the front, and then I saw
Anybody get it? Oh. Okay, whatever. City of
I
publication.
got it.
This might be a little bit harder. Publisher, year of publication, and then the medium of publication. This is a big change to MLA 2009. The only thing that you actually include, remember how you used to include the URL?
Yeah.
Don't include that anymore.
Sweet.
All you do is you include print, if it's a print source, right, like a book or anything that's printed. Web, if it's a web source, so you're not going to put the URL in there. I don't want the URL because it can be super long and disgusting. And then movie, right? Movie if it's a type of film or something like that, or digital. Kind of, yeah.
So how are we supposed to say websites?
Just say.
I'll show you. I'll show you what you could. A lot of the same information. And again, if you don't have, like, oh, I don't have an author, I don't have a title, I don't have any of the, I don't have a sponsor, I don't have any of those things. Like, I guess I just don't have to do it. No, you need a new source. Besides that, you need a new source. You need to find a different place to find that information. Okay. So
if you can't find one component, then you have to find a new.
no, that's not always true. It's just if you can't find most, if you can't find most of the stuff that you need to find, then it won't work. Okay.
It's like if you didn't find an author, but you found everything else.
Right. So actually, let's look at that. Okay. So this is where you're going to find this, right? This is your friend. This thing on the side, this drop or this column on the side, this is your friend for where you find certain things and how to cite them. Okay. So MLA Works Cited, electronic sources. You click that, and then these are going to be web publications, right? They specifically tell you. Okay. It talks about these, right? And it says right here, MLA no longer requires the use of URLs in MLA citations because web addresses are not static because they change a lot of the time, and because documents sometimes appear in multiple places on the web, right? There could be a lot of different databases. MLA explains that most readers can find electronic sources via title or author searches in internet search engines. And that's the other reason. You're no longer including the URL. So if you don't include the URL, that means I should still be able to find your information based on what you give me. And if you can't give me enough good information, it's not a good source. That's really all it is. Okay. So this is what you're looking for. Okay. So our editor and author or compiler name. Okay. It can be any number of those things. Okay. And we'll go back to that one I found. Okay. Your editor or your author or your compiler name. But it does say if available. Like with the EPA, there wasn't one. And that's fine. The name of the site. Okay, this is a specific name of what the site is. The version number. Okay, if there is a version number. Name of institution or organization affiliated with the site, so the sponsor or the publisher. The date of resource creation, if available. So these are the only two things that might not be available. The other stuff you really should find. Then the medium of publication, so that'll be web. And then the date you accessed it. Okay, the date that you specifically accessed it. So this will be important because you'll see not only when it was created, right? This was created in 1978. Maybe that's not a really good source to use, but also when you specifically accessed it to see if any information might have changed. Okay, so let's actually do one. If we go back to our search. Good. And this is your shortcut, guys. This is what I was going to tell you. Instead of having to do a specific advanced search, if you just type in cite : and then whatever it is, .edu, .gov, it'll only do it that way. If you want to learn that quick thing. Okay. So the environmental impacts of transportation. What's the first thing I need to find? Good. I need to find the editor, author, or compiler name. Okay. So I have Dr. Here, I'll actually pull up a Word document so we can do this. Okay. Oops. So I have Dr. Jean-Paul Rodriguez and Dr. Claude Comtoyas. I don't know. So might as well just copy and paste this for now, right? Because it's super easy. And we'll do match destination formatting. Oh, let's fix this. This looks bad. Don't want it bolded, and I am boring and like Times New Roman. All right. So when we are citing it, you always go last name first. Okay. So it's going to be, I'm going to take this, remove it because it's first name, like that, and then same thing here. Now, I have two authors. What do you think I should do in terms of which one comes first? Alphabetical. Yeah, I need to go alphabetical, right? So I have these two. What comes first, C or R? Ah, you guys are so smart. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to move him up here. I wonder if you're actually supposed to put a comma. Let me see. Yeah, there are. I'm gonna really quick. More than one author. Yeah. More than one author, then you just first given name appears in last name, first name format. Subsequent author names appear in first name, last name format. Okay. Oh, I see. So yeah, you start last name and then you go first name. Cool. We'll do it that way. Okay. So it actually goes like that. Oh, I shouldn't have deleted that. 'Cause I don't remember how to spell his name. There we go. Perfect. And then you separate it with a period. Okay? It's not, I mean, kind of, but not really. I mean, it's really minute details like, okay, I have to separate with a period. Done. I'll just commit that to memory. Okay? So, the name of sites. So this is the geography of transport systems. Okay, that's what this thing is called, right? Let's just make sure. I'll go home really quick. Yeah, the geography of transport systems. So that is the name of the specific site, and this might be some type of book that they just made digital, right? I believe so. Yes, because it is a name of a larger work, and you know what? I'm going to come back and fix all this formatting later. Let's do that, okay? So I'm going to italicize that. I'm going to put a period, space, and get rid of the italicization, okay? So there's that. Version number. Let's see if there's a version number. Concept 1. This material cannot be copied or redistributed in whole or part in any form. So it doesn't say anything about that. If we go home, usage conditions, only power provided educational purposes only. Right here, perfect. This is the second edition. See? So even though I had to look for a little bit, right? Information cited for this website should be referred to as. Well, here we go. They kind of give it to us. That's really convenient. Nice, cool. So second edition. Beautiful. All right, next, what do we want to find? Name of institution, organization affiliated with the site. Okay, this is the sponsor or publisher. Where is this all coming from? Where's the main spot that is letting all this happen? Drop down here. This is probably where you're going to find it. It's the Department of Global Studies and Geography and this is really what you want. You want Hofstra University. Okay. They're the ones who fund all of this. Okay. The funding will go to the department, and then the department will give the money to them to make all of this happen. Okay. Then, next, date of resource creation. We actually had that, right? On the home page, right? Talked about it right here. 2009. Okay. So, and actually that's followed by a comma. See? Do you guys see why it's followed by a comma right here? And then date of resource creation, if available. If it's not available, you write ND. If there's no, I believe there's no author, you write NA. No author, perhaps. Then, let's see, date of resource creation. Medium of publication. This is web. And then the date I accessed it. So I'm going to do it kind of the opposite of how we normally did it. So today is the 27th, right? So 27 of what is it, February? February 2012. Here. Okay. I'm going to change this really quick. Good. The geography of transport. Oh, that too. The geography of transport systems. Good. Now, this is what you guys are going to have to get in the habit of. You still make it double spaced, right? This is going to be double spaced, and you're going to do what's called as what's known as a hanging indent, where you indent not the first line, but every subsequent line of every one that's put in there. That's controlled. There we go, like that. Okay, and there's my works cited entry.
Is this like tab?
I think that if you hit tab, it might do the whole. Yeah, it does it like that. So if you hold Control on a Mac and then hit tab, it'll only do the one line you're on. Yeah, hit Control tab. So there it is. This is what I'm going to expect you guys to find. I mean, that took me, I don't know, about 5 minutes. Granted, I was explaining a lot of it to you guys and that sort of thing, but as you get more and more used to this, you'll find this stuff and it'll be a lot easier. And you might as well do this once you find a source. If you know, like, I'm totally going to use this information, cite it. Do it right then instead of waiting and having to go and find everything all over again. Okay? So that's what you're going to have to do not only for your research papers, but also for your vocab assignments. Every word you find, you're going to have to cite it. Okay? Keep in mind, though, this isn't the only way you do it, because you might use a book. You might use a newspaper. You might use an anthology.
If you use a book, all you have to do is list the title and author.
You list the author, you list the title, you list the copyright date, you list the publisher, and you list who published, where it was published. So it might be published by like Huffington Post, but then you actually say specifically where Huffington Post is. I don't know if Huffington Post is published, but
New York.
So like New York, right? You might come from Random House, which is in New York. So the publisher is Random House. Where it was published is New York, and then you would put that it is print, and then I think that's it. But you still have to put all that information. And so
There'll be a lot of work if you use like 30 different websites.
Yeah. No. When people write their PhDs, they'll be hundreds of pages long at times. Their dissertation is what it's called. They'll do a PhD dissertation. Their works cited, their references page, could be 10 pages alone. Yeah, it can be incredibly substantial. Look at the back of anything, you guys. Look at any. If you do research for a book, just look at the index, or not the index, but look at the references page. So we'll call it works cited or something like that. It's long. People, I mean, because if you don't do that, it's plagiarism and stealing, and you can actually. There are criminal charges that can be put against you for doing that. So people get caught a lot of the times for plagiarizing and stealing. Okay? So this is an important skill to get used to. Not even if you're just going to be a writer. No, it's like, oh, I'm never going to be a writer. Why am I going to do this? Because you're probably going to do science reports. You're probably going to work with math stuff.
Might get a PhD.
You might get your PhD in something, right? And you're going to have to know this. Okay. But keep in mind, there are a bunch of other ways to do it. If you find yourself, like I had an interview with somebody and I'm using information with them, how do I do that? We'll go over some of that stuff, but there's a lot. I'm not going to cover every single way you do every single citation. But if you need help, come see me, right? And even for me, I don't have it all 100% down. I don't remember how to cite an interview. I don't remember how to do that. But I'll just look it up really quickly and we'll find the information together. Okay. Any questions? Great. Well, I will see you guys on Wednesday. Start doing your research, okay?